You know, in so many of our homes, there are these boxes, right? Boxes of old photos, albums with pictures that are starting to fade, and maybe the most important thing of all those stories that are locked inside the minds of our parents and grandparents. We are just terrified of losing them. Today, we're going to look at a way to make sure those stories, well, that they never fade away. It's this quiet fear, isn't it? It just kind of sits in the back of your mind, especially if you're the one in the family who's supposed to keep track of all this stuff. You look at your mom, you look at your dad, and you think about every single thing they've lived through, and you get that little sinking feeling in your stomach. What happens when those stories are just gone? And that feeling, wow, it comes with a heavy weight, doesn't it? It's that little pang of guilt every time you think, oh, I really need to sit down and write that story down. It's the anxiety of being the family's official historian, the one person who's responsible for everything. And oh my gosh, it is that very real, heart-pounding fear of putting the only copy of your parents' wedding album into a box and sending it off in the mail, just praying it gets there safely. Okay, so let's talk about how we can lift that weight. What if preserving all these memories wasn't another stressful thing on your massive to-do list? What if it could actually be easy, maybe even joyful? What if you had a helper? Just think about that for a second. No more feeling like you're pestering your dad to talk about his time in the service. No more trying to find just the right way to ask your mom about her childhood. What if the storytelling could just happen, naturally and easily, without you having to be the one driving the entire thing? And this is where this idea of Sam comes in. Now, don't think of Sam as some complicated app or piece of technology. Think of him as a friendly biographer. He's this warm, gentle voice who calls your mom or dad on a regular schedule and just chats with them. It's designed to feel like a pleasant conversation, not some kind of interview. And you can just feel the effect these conversations have. This isn't about just getting down facts and dates. It's about unlocking the feeling of a memory. A simple, gentle question can take someone right back in time, and suddenly they're remembering details and emotions that you'd never get by just asking, "So, tell me about your life." And the whole process is just beautifully simple. So first, Sam calls your parent at a time that works for them. Then, they have a really relaxed, guided conversation. And finally, behind the scenes, that entire chat is safely recorded, it's turned into a written story, and it's saved forever in your family's private archive. You get the incredible story without any of the stress. So that takes care of the stories. But what about the stuff? The physical photos, the albums, the letters. This is usually the biggest hurdle for people, that absolute fear of losing the originals. This whole idea is built on trust, and it starts with how it handles your most precious heirlooms. And wow, this slide just shows the difference so clearly. The old way is just filled with anxiety. You pack everything up, you send it off into the void, and you wait for weeks and weeks, just hoping it all comes back. The SepiaPages's way completely gets rid of that fear. You just walk into your local FedEx or UPS store, you hand your precious albums to a real person, and they're scanned right there. Your originals never have to go on that long, risky journey. All right, so the stories are being captured, the photos are all safely digitized, your family archive is being built. But this next part, this is where it gets truly magical. This is about taking all those digital memories and weaving them right back into the fabric of your home. I mean, just imagine that for a second. You walk by that old rocking chair, something you've seen 1,000 times in your life, but now it has a voice. It holds a piece of your family's history that you can unlock anytime you want. And the way it works is wonderfully simple. It's called a smart sticker. Don't even think of it as tech. Think of it more like a key. It's just a small little sticker that you can place on any object in your house, and it turns that object into a doorway to a story. And this is the result. Your kids, or maybe your grandkids someday, can just walk up to that rocking chair, scan the sticker with a phone, and instantly hear their great-grandfather's voice telling a story about that exact spot. Your home literally transforms into a living, interactive museum of your own family. It's amazing. So let's pull all of these pieces together. Because when you combine this story catching, and this safe way of digitizing photos, and these smart stickers, what you're actually building is something so much more profound than just a photo album. And that really gets to the heart of it, right? A scrapbook is wonderful, we all love them, but they're silent. The photos can't speak. What we're talking about here is creating a living library, a collection that actually has voices, that tells its own stories, and that can be added to for generations and generations to come. Of course, if you're going to build a legacy, you have to know that it's going to last. Like what happens in 50 years? That's where something called a perpetual purpose trust comes in. The easiest way to think of it is like a safety deposit box for your digital archive. It's a legal promise, with money set aside just to make sure your family's stories are protected forever, no matter what. It's permanence by design. So, as we wrap things up here, it really all comes down to one simple but really powerful question. When you think about your own family, your own parents and grandparents, and all the stories they hold, whose story will you save first?